Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, I want to discuss a very serious topic for me. It's probably the most difficult personal challenge I've had to face in my life. And I continue down this journey of trying to help people in the best way I know how. I have to practice extreme vulnerability and express these things that it seems crazy that you wouldn't say it to the person next to you, a friend, significant other, but you will go on YouTube and tell the world. Anyway, when I was about 23, 24, I'm 36 now, I remember I was somewhere and I wasn't quite feeling like myself, right? And I couldn't understand what was going on. The only thing I knew was I have to get the hell out of here and get home. Now, once I did go home, the first thing I did, as anybody else would do, I went on Google and I started to type in the symptoms of what I was feeling at that moment. And the results I got back completely shocked me. Now, what Dr. Google said was that what I was feeling was called anxiety. Now, prior to this day, prior to that age, I heard the term, heard people speak on it very little, but it never quite crossed my mind. And even as I felt symptoms of what I later came to find out was anxiety, it was still hard to believe that it happened to me. And if I remember correctly, as of 2019, over 300 million Americans do suffer with some form of anxiety. Me personally, I've never been diagnosed by an actual doctor, but the things I felt would fall under the category of, it's abbreviated as GAD, which is Generalized Anxiety Disorder. And I guess that falls under the categories of worrying too much, expecting something bad to happen, even if there's no reason for you to even think that way. Me specifically, I just think it's the environment I grew up in. It was a pretty rough neighborhood. And having to constantly walk around thinking or worrying or trying to be overly cautious about everyday activities, whether it's going to school, whether it's walking down the street, sleeping in your own home at night. The environment provided a lot of things to be worried about. And as I got older, that's when it bothered me, because I guess the worry just built up over time. And I didn't realize the damage I was doing to myself by not maybe communicating and expressing what I was thinking or feeling at that time. And the other one I believe is pronounced agoraphobia. You know, I think that's how it's pronounced. But it kind of falls under the category of you feel like you're going to be stuck in a situation that you can't get out of. And you make this thing up in your mind, right? It's not an actual thing that's going to happen. But I think overall, that's what anxiety is. You're telling yourself a story of something that may happen, even if there's no reason for you to think that way. Now, you may have had an experience in the past that did happen, and now you just keep replaying it over and over and over again. That's where the damage lies, right then and there. And this is why studying is important, because if you read into it enough, you will know that anxiety is just a chemical experience in the body, usually produced by your own ways of thinking. It's not a thing or a person that's causing it, it's you. And the beauty of that is when you take accountability for what you're doing, then you can fix it. I believe I heard Dr. Wayne Dyer talk about this, which I'm a huge fan. I've read at least 9 or 10 of his books. An amazing individual. And he talks about that topic of when you take accountability for your own actions, then you're the one responsible and you know you can correct it. opposed to you blaming somebody outside of yourself, makes you feel like you have to wait for this person to come and fix the problem. And that's not how it goes. For me, it was quite odd simply because I guess growing up as a child and being left alone, you know, my mom didn't bother me too much. I was out there with my friends, playing sports, riding bikes, you know, falling all over the place. So I never felt restricted, and I guess I was always fairly confident, very determined, driven, wanted to do so much with myself. And then anxiety hit. Now, for those of you who may not have experienced anxiety to a significant extent, I'll give you an example here. So picture Superman, right? Superhero, superhuman individual. Nothing can stop the guy. But if the guy is exposed to kryptonite, he's completely helpless and almost weakened. The guy literally, his powers are gone. So how I would describe anxiety for a person would be the same exact way. When anxiety hits, it's almost like kryptonite to Superman. You feel helpless, you feel stuck, you feel weakened, and it's a terrible thing to feel. Now, one of the things I will say that was one of the big mistakes I made was I kept it to myself. And I don't think it was necessarily that I was embarrassed by feeling anxiety symptoms. I just think it was hard to accept that this was happening to me. And I also thought it'll go away. I was wrong. It started around 23. Here I am at 36, and I still experience anxiety. Now, with all the studying I've done on the topic, all the reading, the practices, right? I have it under control. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here speaking to you. But it's very important, I think, one, don't be hard on yourself. Don't blame, don't wonder why me. Accept it, right? After you accept it, then do the research. During your research, you may discover why this has happened to you. For example, me, I would say the environment I grew up in, very rough neighborhood, very rough environment. And I lived there until about the age of 27, 28. So do your research, understand it. Then once you have an understanding of it, then you can probably look back and see what caused it, then start addressing those things. The third thing I was saying is very important is when you speak on what's happening, you take the power away from it. Meaning, don't think if I stay quiet, it's gonna help you, because it's not. Don't think that you'll be embarrassed and let that stop you from speaking up, because in reality, it's not helping you either. What you wanna do, you wanna discuss the topic with someone you feel comfortable speaking with. Now, if it's not a family member, if it's not a friend, you can go online. There's plenty of resources. I'm pretty sure the apps and things like that would help you communicate with someone. And that's the best thing you can do. You can take the power away from it when you speak on it. So keep that in mind, and never feel helpless, right? There's always someone you can talk to. There are always people going through the same exact things as you are. I mean, after all, we're all human. We're all gonna go through some things that we may not understand, but if you look back at human history, it repeats itself. People have dealt with the same exact things you're dealing with right now. It's not just you, and it won't just be you going forward. So one of the beauties of anxiety is it makes you focus on the topic, especially me, so much that you feel like you can help others. So when I come across a friend or a family member, I don't necessarily point out their anxiety in that moment, because that will not help. Now, after the fact, or if I can help get them away from the anxiety, I'll do that. And then in a more controlled environment, let's talk, right? Because I think if you point out somebody's anxiety while they're having anxiety, it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help. So be patient with the person you're speaking to and give them a little bit of space. But yeah, the most important thing I think you can do when it comes to anxiety is do the research, read the books, plenty of resources around. Just don't ever feel defeated. Don't ever feel defeated, because there's plenty of people who have overcome anxiety, who live with anxiety, and even those people were able to provide helpful information to others who have yet to feel anxiety or will feel anxiety. So I think you can contribute more to helping if you try to understand what it is that you're going through. I personally would have never thought I'd be here speaking on YouTube about anxiety. The most crippling thing I think has happened to me personally has been just that. But I learned later on that the best thing I can do is speak on it, express how I'm feeling, and just take it one day at a time. You know, don't think you're gonna read a book, watch a video, or speak to someone and it's gonna magically disappear. I don't think it works that way. But the most important thing you can do is just remember you're not alone. There are people out there that will help, can help, and always, always seek the help first. Don't keep things to yourself and expect it to just go away. For anxiety, I think the most important thing you can do is seek the help. Even if it's just somebody you want to talk to about what you're feeling, and you tell them, hey, I don't want feedback, just let me express what I'm feeling. That's gonna help you so much more than you keeping things to yourself, locked up inside your head and thinking it's gonna go away, because it doesn't. So it feels good to get this video out there and share this information. Again, I would have never thought I'd be doing this on YouTube, but I hope this video helps someone, because for a long time I felt hopeless, I felt embarrassed, and I didn't want to talk about it. And it took me a long time before I opened up. So please, 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 if this helps, share it with someone you know.